There's some pretty intimidating results that have come out from the research behind the impact of prolonged sitting and inactivity. Researchers found that those who sat for more than 8 hours a day with no physical activity had a risk of dying similar to that posed by obesity and smoking. And let's face it, who doesn't spend a lot of time sitting these days? It's not even reserved for just the 9-to-5 office workers anymore. I'm a full-time yoga teacher and content creator, and there are many days where I spend at least 8 hours sat at my desk. But what this video isn't going to do though, is to simply tell you the answer is to just move more. Because I feel that the reality of that isn't so straightforward. Many of us aren't choosing to sit for prolonged periods of time. We do so because we have to work, to earn a living. And there isn't the luxury of just being able to take a stroll around the park mid-afternoon on, I don't know, a random Wednesday. So first things first, let's ditch the stigma of it only being lazy or unmotivated people who need to solve this sitting problem. I needed to solve this problem. So let me share with you this most perfect, simple desk stretch routine to counteract all of the drawbacks for having to spend a lot of time sitting, so that you can feel better and avoid aches and pains in the long term. Prevention is better than cure, my friends. We've got 5 problematic areas that I'm going to give you the solutions to. You can either implement one stretch at a time throughout your day, where it literally takes 1 minute, or if you have 5 minutes to spare, you can whip through the lot in one go. Remember, anything that you can manage is better than nothing at all. So let's jump straight into number 1 with what is one of my favorite mobility movements, as it just feels so damn good, and it targets probably the most problematic of sitting issues, the dreaded hunchback. So for this one, you're going to start in a give yourself a hug kind of shape. From here, think of pointing your elbows up towards the sky as you look up, taking a nice big belly breath in, before dropping your elbows down towards your stomach and tucking the chin down towards your chest. Move slowly and mindfully between these two positions, before swapping over the arms and maybe now taking it up a notch. This time, starting small, imagine your elbows are drawing a circle. Move out to the side a little, circle up towards the sky, back down the other side into your bottom position. 60 seconds of this and your spine will feel like new. But with this cross arm position, we've got that same closed off chest going on, which we get a lot of when we sit. So let's move on to number 2 to solve that problem. So for this one, scoot yourself back away from your desk a little way and make sure that you're perched right on the edge of your chair. Place your elbows on the desk edge and ideally hold something to keep your hands apart from one another. A water bottle works well, but I also found that just my phone does the job just fine. From there, if you've got a wheelie chair, you are in luck. Let your bum slide back as your chest presses down towards the floor beneath you. The more you bring your hands towards your shoulder blades, the more you'll feel a stretch into your triceps. So you can be the judge of how much or how little of that you would like. If this is crazy talk and your body isn't quite up for this shape just yet, scale it down with flat palms on the desk instead. The wider your hands, the less demanding it becomes. So there's some options for you to explore to find what works best for your body. Spend 30 seconds here, and then as you bob up, simply place your hand against the desk edge before turning away from it. Hold for 15 seconds. Swap sides, and then move on to problem area number 3. If your lower back aches or your hips feel like they're made of cement, you're gonna love this one. Sit yourself nice and tall, like a proper lady, and then cross your ankle over your opposite thigh. Allow your arms to rest gently onto your leg to give your bum muscles some encouragement to relax and to lengthen, and then add the cherry to the top of your pie by twisting your body towards your foot. You could hold your foot or the arm of your chair or the back of the chair if that's available to you. Take 30 seconds before doing the same on the other side. One of the best things about this stretch is the fact that you can work as you do it. If time is your limiting factor, leave out the twist for now and go about your work in this figure 4 shape. It is the perfect multitask. Speaking of multitasking, you can do the same with number 4. So this is one that I've rarely seen covered in any desk stretch routine that I've ever come across. Everyone ignores our poor little hamstrings. Our knees are bent when we are sat down, right? Which is the hamstrings in a shortened position. And most people, especially after a short while of sitting, will also find themselves starting to slouch, where their bum kind of tucks underneath too. This further shortens the hamstrings, so no wonder your hamstrings are tight, right? This one is super simple. Again, perch yourself on the edge of your chair and extend a leg straight out in front of you. The more you hinge forwards with your body, the more you're going to feel a stretch in that hamstring. And again, if you get your distance set up, you can do this as you work. I'm trying to remove all the hurdles for you, as many as I possibly can, so that you can move and stretch in the most subtle of ways if you need to. But for this very last one, which dare I say is probably the most important of them all, you might get a few interested glances across the office if you share a workspace. So your hip flexors are the muscle that attach your leg to your torso. They are both inactive when we are sat down, as well as in a very short position. So they are very frequently not being stretched and not being strengthened. All in all, a pretty neglected muscle. They are the guilty culprit responsible for that feeling that you get when you stand up from your chair and can't quite seem to straighten all the way up to stand. So for this finale here, I'll ask a little more effort from you, but it is worth it. From your seated position, keep your torso nice and upright and as still as possible as you lift and lower your thigh off of the chair around 20 times. This is the strengthening aspect, and then comes the juicy part. From there, stand up, take a small step forwards away from your chair, put the top of your foot onto the chair behind you, and then squat down to place your knee to the floor. It is the most glorious stretch, and another where technically you could continue to work away at your desk. But I will warn you, it's a pretty big stretch, so you might not get your best work done whilst multitasking this one. 30 seconds on each side, and with this being the 5th exercise, you could get this entire routine done in just 5 minutes. But even with these desk stretches, if you're still feeling like you're a little on the stiff side, you'll want to go and check out this video next to discover the 4 essential beginner's mobility movements, which will change the game for your flexibility.